Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Through the Gears. We get set for the penultimate race of the NASCAR season at Martinsville Speedway. It's been a ride. It's almost done, but we have two important races to see who is crowned champion and who can win the Xfinity 500 on Sunday. I have Stephen Stumpf coming on, NASCAR content director for Front Stretch, to give his analysis of his best picks and race winners. And I'm here to do the same thing as we've done multiple weeks throughout the year, to give analysis of if you've started following us from the start, you'd be up 73.8 units following the show. So be sure to tune in all next year as well. Be sure to tune in next week as well for the Phoenix Championship. We will be ready to go for that, but it's been a ride for sure all season long. But without further ado, let's get another hot dog for the second time and final time this year as we go through the gears for Martinsville. Joining me now is my good buddy, good colleague, Stephen Stumpf, the director of NASCAR content here at Front Stretch. Back on Through the Gears. Been a while. How you doing? You also run the predictions for us. How's that been going for you throughout the season?
I kind of quit doing it myself in the middle of the season because I started losing a lot. But doing it, thinking of the questions, keeping track of the scores has been very fun. Got a close battle between two of our colleagues coming up, but otherwise, excited for this weekend. It's not only eight, the eight playoff drivers are the eight best drivers at Martinsville. They've scored the most points at Martinsville in the next gen car. So it's like Goliath versus Goliath versus Goliath versus Goliath. So it's going to be a fun battle, and, excited to see what happens. Then on to Phoenix for what might be the final time with this championship format. I don't know, but I'll be there to cover it. So excited to get into things.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The top eight on the odds are all the playoff drivers, but at the same time, there's some hidden diamonds in the rough that could mix it up in terms of stealing the win or the spotlight away, at least for this race. No doubt it's going to be a slog between a lot of these guys. And the most surprising thing, or really not surprising, is that the books have woken up and have found Ryan Blaney as the favorite at 4-1 via DraftKings. His best odd right now. Blaney has owned this fall race like like he owns driving the 12 car, but really in a dominant sense, Ryan Blaney has shown dominance to find his way into the championship four via the Martinsville Xfinity 500. And now the book's waking up at 4-1. It's tough for me to take him. He is good at this track, but is he so surefire as the books are putting him up to be, Steven?
I don't know. I can't say for sure. I mean, he definitely didn't look all that great in the spring. He finished 11th, but that's also his worst finish in the next gen car at Martinsville, which is really impressive, all things considered. But it just seems like come time for the fall, and Penske has all the short tracks, all of the flat tracks figured out. They dominated New Hampshire. And so I'd have to think Blaney would be one of the favorites. I can't say if he'd be the favorite, but I definitely think he'll be contending again. If I had to guess right now, I'd say he gets a top 5, but I don't think he's going to win this time.
Yeah, because there is a bunch of drivers that are both gunning for the win or just to block this win from happening to make it a points battle between the likes of Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson, who both have wins here at Martinsville in the next gen car, rather. Both sitting at 7-1. Those are guys I have my eye on a lot between those two, because they have their points. They have a mighty point lead over the likes of William Byron, over Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. who between those two has the chance to shut out those that are looking for that win this weekend?
I do want to add also that Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, they're in the championship four, but they could easily play spoiler. Denny won the spring race. He was a 6-time winner there. Chase Briscoe has never finished worse than 15th in this car at Martinsville. I think he'll be great too. But between Larson and Christopher Bell, I think the advantage goes to Larson. The reason why is because Larson has been pretty much automatic at this place in the next gen car. Since the start of 2023, he has 6 consecutive finishes of six, or sorry, since the end of 2022, he has 6 consecutive finishes of 6th or better. And like 5 of those were top 5s, and he won in 2023. Bell had the win in 2022, which kind of got overshadowed by Ross Chastain's Hill Mellon. But outside of that, Bell's been very feast or famine at Martinsville. He did finish second in the spring, so they might have figured things out. But other than that second and that first, it's a lot of mid-pack runs and disappointing finishes. So I think if we were going to go through the law of averages and what the drivers have done at the track in the past, I think Larson will probably outpoint Christopher Bell. But as we saw at the end of last week at Talladega, you can run the perfect race, but sometimes other things can happen.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that both Bell in 2022, it was a tire call to beat Chase Briscoe, who we're talking about here, who was on a alternate strategy in that race while he was driving for Stewart Haas Racing as well. I think I completely agree with you. Kyle Larson has been consistent at this track in the past. While, again, Bell does have a second place finish in the spring, and Joe Gibbs Racing was really dominant in that race. A part of it also is that new left side tire is going to play a role in this race, I feel, in the sense that it's going to change it might change the chemistry of the track in general. I'm not sure how the temperature is going to be for Martinsville and for this night race, because it's going to be, as we saw like at a Bristol, I know it's not a concrete track, but it could mess with how the tires also degrade and all that. But I think it's still going to be your usual suspects fighting for the win. There's going to be a couple outliers that I really like that we'll get into in a little bit. I feel like Larson has the advantage over Christopher Bell in this regard, but if I'm going to bet with their 7-1, why not take both for their value over the likes of a Ryan Blaney and a Denny Hamlin? I do like Denny, but I feel like your analysis for Chase Briscoe especially kind of leans me more his way if we're going for someone who's already locked in to outright win for Briscoe. Just again, also a value play for where he's at 19-1 versus 6-1 for Denny Hamlin. But if I lose to Denny Hamlin, I think I could swallow it there for myself in that terms. But Bell, Larson 7-1. Those are good value plays as well. The two we haven't mentioned here was William Byron and Joey Logano. And for Byron, me personally, he's more of a spring Martinsville guy compared to the fall, because his numbers here have been terrible in the fall. And then Joey Logano, he could be a sneaky play. He's had good runs here in the past, but with all the cards down and it being an odd year, I don't know if there's too much going against him in this race.
What I'll say is Logano does have a top 10 in every Martinsville race in this car. He also has 2 runner-ups, but of the 6 drivers trying to clinch a spot, he's led the fewest laps of those drivers at this track. And it's basically the story of him at Martinsville in the next gen car is he's always had a good car. He's always had a good car capable of competing, running up front, but he's never had the winning car. And so the question is, would he have the winning car? But I feel like if he's going to have the winning car, I feel like Ryan Blaney is probably going to win, because at this point, Blaney just seems to be much better than Logano at this track. So I think that's the case. As for Byron, you are correct that his 2 Martinsville wins have come in the spring. In fact, most of his wins have come in the spring if you look at the stats. But
Stephen's sizzling stats.
Yes. The thing that is kind of interesting though is like
he's 36 back, but I don't think it's a complete and absolute must win. Like if Larson or Bell, if one of them like are out early and they score like 1 point, that's theoretically enough for Byron, Logano, and the others to compete. But again, that's that's such an unlikely scenario, but it's a possibility. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think Byron's probably not going to make it just because he's been too hit or miss at Martinsville, and whenever he does seem to hit at Martinsville, it's always been in the spring and not the fall.
There's actually one other playoff driver we haven't mentioned. That's Chase Elliott.
Oh.
He opened at 10-1 on the books. He's climbed all the way to a plus 650. That's what he's third, fourth. I know he's third best odds or third highest odds rather going into this weekend. And I look at his stats. It surprises me he doesn't have a win in the next gen area. Of course, he's won here on his way to clinching the 2020 title. He does not have any points window. He needs to win at this track at minus 62. And he has an incredible average finish of 8th. And he's led the second most laps in the next gen era at 557, just behind Denny Hamlin and in front of his teammate William Byron. It surprises me that Elliott opened so high at the start. But B, no one's really talking about Elliott going in this race.
I think no one's really talking about him because Blaney's been the guy that's won the last 2 of these, and Elliott's the furthest back in points. But I think he'll be a big player, when it's all said and done. Like, you can say that Chase has been in a winning slump since 2023. Only has 4 wins in the last 3 seasons, which for considering he had 5 in 2022, he's still not back to that super elite level he's previously at. You could argue, but it seems like even in the last 3 years, Martinsville's been the one track where he always seems to be competitive. He's led in every next gen race. He's led 40 or more laps at Martinsville, except for the one when he came right back from his leg injury in the spring of 23. So he's pretty much had a car capable of winning, the last, 3.5 years of Martinsville. And it seems like it seems like it'd be just, only a matter of time before he gets back to victory lane at this track. And he almost did it last year too. Like, he was the car that Blaney had to pass for the win to make it. And if he hadn't done that, then Chase would have been in the championship 4. So again, I think it's just, again, it's just hard to know. Like, is Gibbs going to have the dominant cars? Is Hendrick going to have the dominant cars? Is Penske going to have the dominant cars? Like, again, we've already established that pretty much all of these guys are capable of winning this race. But I think it's really just going to depend on who hits it and who does not.
Yeah, 650 again. It's a tall tale for bettors to take Chase Elliott in this one, but I think there is a track record where you could take him. I'd personally wait till practice and qualifying is over before going back into the odds and looking at the better odds that you could take, because all it takes is a good strategy call, something crazy going on in the race to flip things over here at Martinsville, just because it's such a track position race. But at the same time, Elliott has top 5s in the last 3 races. Finished 4th or higher. He just needs to notch that win in this race, and he almost did it last year, like you said, and he's done it before in other areas as well. So I'd keep a close eye on the 9 for sure and see where he's at and how he's running. There's also other cars in this race that we need to look at, I feel. Stephen, out of all the non-playoff drivers out there, and once you drop off the playoff drivers, it starts with Bubba Wallace at 33-1 and goes way down in terms of value. Who do you got your eye on to upset the playoff field?
If anyone, probably Bubba, because he finished 3rd here in the spring. Martinsville has been one of his best tracks, 23-11. Well, I should say he's been one of the best drivers at Martinsville in recent years, not Tyler Reddick. He is definitely not good here. So, and that team's shown a bit of speed. They almost won Kansas until the boss said no. But again, I definitely think that they've had those races this year where they've really just nailed the setup and just nailed the speed, and they've been a contender. And I definitely think this could be one of these races, especially if Toyota as a whole ends up being really strong.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with Bubba. We had him on our card, I think, in the spring, even outright win. I'm definitely keeping an eye on him for other bets as well. And at 33-1, it's great value. Even if you want to take one of the playoff drivers off and put them on there, I think that's fair. There's two others I'm looking at pretty closely, and there's plenty of great odds throughout the field. But two of them I have in mind, and the fact that we're changing the tire here at Martinsville, it's got to go to some short track aces like Josh Berry and Ryan Preece. I'll start with Berry. I mean, again, he's one of his first career Xfinity win came here at the spring race 2021. It's just a matter of that team needing to finish on a high note going into the offseason. And they almost did that at a similar shape, not similar size track at New Hampshire. Now, the fact that we're running the same tires we had in New Hampshire is why I'm feeling Josh Berry here to go for the win at 35-1. Now, if it's to the expense of Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano, then I feel like Martinsville tends to open itself up to team orders or something. That's the only danger I have with Josh Berry if it comes down to that. The other side, though, is Ryan Preece. And nothing like that's going to happen in terms of allegiances or alliances unless it gets really down to the roots with Ford. But 70-1 is even better. And he scored a top 10 here earlier in the spring and has talked to a couple circles out there that he really loves this tire going into the race, this new left side tire that is. So I'm leaning towards Preece, especially at the 70-1 number. It's just something you could put a little bit of value on for the weekend. But again, a lot of it comes down to watching practice and qualifying, seeing what others are doing. Like Ty Gibbs is 50-1. He's raced here good in the past as well. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch are down there at 60 and 80-1 respectively. And Chris Buescher's down there as well. It's just a matter of coming down to the wire and seeing how drivers are racing here for this weekend. But of course, the spotlight and the focus will be on the playoff drivers, and especially on Ryan Blaney going for the three-peat here at Martinsville. And with that, Stephen, I'm going to open it up to you. Who's the four drivers that you'd put on a card right now going into Martinsville?
I'm going to maybe do a little bit of hot take and say Briscoe.
Ooh, I like that. And just because of his record too, you mentioned earlier with his average finishes and whatnot, right?
Yeah, this has been a track he's run well at every single time he's come here, and it's clear that he and the 19 team were not on the same page at Martinsville in the spring that they are on now, and they've qualified great, they've run great pretty much everywhere, and I definitely think you can play spoiler, and I think for Hamlin and Briscoe, it's probably pretty important for them to try to contend for the win, because if one of them wins and they lock out the guys below the cut line, that means Bell most likely makes it too, and then suddenly JGR has 3 of the 4 championship 4 cars.
And that would be dominant too. That's insane that can actually happen. Who's 3 others that you got your eye on?
I think we mentioned them all. I think Blaney, Elliott, and Larson. I think those are the other ones that maybe they may not win, but I think they're going to be right there with them.
Yeah, I'm with you there too on a few of them. I'll start with Larson. I mean, again, he's shown consistency here. I think he wants to control his destiny by outright winning this one and gaining a little momentum going into Phoenix. after what happened at Talladega with the fuel mileage gone wrong. Luckily, had a good enough points buffer, though, as long as nobody new wins. Right with him, though, it's Bell again at 7-1. Same reasons apply, same odds, and has a win in the fall previously to boot, although it was kind of on tires. He led 150 laps in that race, but he hasn't led a lot since then. He did get second last year. I do like that, and I'll be pulling for him to turn that into a win. I got Briscoe as well. I had Hamlin here, but again, just the value at 19-1 is undeniable, and the fact that he's ran solid at this track, regardless of who he's been racing with, and now that he's in high gear going into the championship 4, I feel like he's going to go back to back when it matters. And Chase Briscoe is going to turn on and get the win at Martinsville. And then finally, I'm going to go with an upset winner. I'm going to go far down and take Ryan Preece at 70-1. Crazy value. He's ran well. He's won a pole too at Martinsville back when he was at Stewart-Haas Racing. I think if he finds the front, he'll stay up there and he will contend for the win. Again, as long as there's no shenanigans that goes on in this race, it'll be a good race for the 60 crew. I'll start it with some of the prop picks, and we talked about a couple of these guys already, like Bubba Wallace. His top 5 is plus 360. Again, he finished 3rd here in the spring. I think he can do it again. Definitely a top 10, but his top 10 is a little bit smaller of a value. It's almost break even at plus 110. So I want to go for better value with Wallace at a top 5. Ryan Preece's top 10 is at plus 300, 3-1 odds. I'll take 2 units on that one. Austin Dillon, he finished top 10 in this race last year, and he's at 9-1, and he's raced well on short tracks selectively, mainly at Richmond, but I feel like they can unlock a little bit of that speed and find his way to the front one more time. And then finally, SVG. He's been putting up some consistent finishes as of late. Is he getting this oval thing down? Well, 12-1 says that he does and gets another top 10. His first short track top 10 in the 88 car. And I think that's good. He's turning it on at the right time and figuring this thing out. Stephen, do you agree, or do you got some other ideas for the bettors out there?
Well, I had one prop bet in mind, and it was SVG top 10. But I will.
Great minds think alike.
I will go into further explanation why, and it's because if you look at the results last year, he finished 12th in this race with Colleague. It's not the exact same track, but he also ran pretty well, much better than I thought he would at the Clash at Bowman Gray at the start of the year. So, flat track, low bank turns. I definitely and keep in mind in like New Hampshire, he was running top 10 pretty much the entire day till he got wrecked, and that's another kind of like low banked flat track, paperclip type shape. So I think if he qualifies pretty well, I think he absolutely has a chance to finish in the top 10. I think just based on what we've seen out of them, the oval so far, I think this is an oval that would perfectly suit his skills. Yeah,
I feel he can get that done just to get in the top 10 and find himself there. And that would be one hell of a race for the Kiwi. But finally, Stephen, before I go, normally I go into the Xfinity or Truck Series race, but we're so close. And Martinsville tends to be one race where you can bet heavy on championship odds for some drivers who can pull off maybe a miracle. From the 8, I mean, I got Christopher Bell is the favorite at plus 250 to win it all, with Hamlin plus 290, Larson plus 370, along with Chase Briscoe. Those 4 seem like they will make their way in. But from Blaney on down, Blaney's at 10-1 to win the championship, while Chase Elliott's at 20-1. Joey Logano also 20-1, and William Byron astonishing 30-1 to win it all. for you, Stephen, I mean, you could give me your championship pick that you had at the start of this playoffs, but from a value perspective, who do you think is going to take away the title and someone that can fill our pocketbooks up?
Well, I personally wouldn't vote on this until we know who the 4 are. But what I will say is that if a Penske car wins on Sunday, bet the house on them.
So 10-1 Ryan Blaney and 20-1 Joey Logano. I do have I took Logano at the start of the round of 8 at 10-1, and it's grown to 20. I don't like that it's grown to 20. I don't think he's going to get it done at all on Sunday. But man, Ryan Blaney 10-1, folks. That's tough not to take. If he does end up winning, and we miss that, and he gets a title in 2025, this whole era we've been in for the playoffs has been Logano, Blaney since the next gen era. So it's so weird.
with how, how many hoops there are to jump through this system, who knew that we'd find the next Jimmy winning 5 titles in a row.
The same team, different drivers every other year. So it would take a lot. But again, Ryan Blaney has shown a lot of poise here in Martinsville to get where he needs to be. And in Phoenix, it just writes itself, it feels like. But it's going to be interesting. I think if I'm going to take a long shot, Ryan Blaney 10-1 would be my go-to. But Chase, I'm about to say, I had Denny Hamlin at the start of it and plus 290. I'd even still take him as well at plus 290 to win it outright. I feel like it's his year to get the job done personally, but bet responsibly, take the odds as you may. William Byron at 30-1. Good luck to anyone who takes that one. We'll watch it on NBC. We'll watch it on Sunday. Stephen, you'll be at Phoenix for the championship in a couple weeks' time. Thanks again for coming on Through the Gears this season. And let the folks know what you got going on frontstretch.com over the next weekend.
I'm now running Two-Headed Monster, deciding which question to use. I've been contributing to that a lot more. Got a stat sheet coming up, kind of talking about what we just talked about right now, and like who past results at Martinsville, who has the best chance, and then after that, I think it's going to be I fly out to Phoenix on Wednesday, so 6 days from now, and going to be a lot of coverage, starting next week.
Excited to see all the coverage from there. Again, thrilled to have everyone at Martinsville for Front Stretch covering. Again, Stephen, thanks for coming on the show. Be sure to check out the rest of Front Stretch's podcast, including we just shot the Pit Straight with Alex Gintz this week, talking about the U.S. Grand Prix and the Apple TV deal for Formula One coming up. And also check out Happy Hour with Brian Nolan, Dalton Hopkins, and Michael Massey. And check out Stock Car Scoop with Caleb Barnes post-race at Martinsville Speedway. Talking everything. The crazy, surely going to be another crazy race this year with shenanigans, maybe. Who knows? I'm excited to see all of that going on. And also check out Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle as well. From Wyatt Watson, from Stephen Stumpf, thanks again, and we'll see you next time. And let's make some money and eat some hot dogs at Martinsville.